The first thing I remember is the cold. Not the gentle chill of a spring morning, but a deep, biting cold that seeped into my bones. I was the last of my litter to be born, and the smallest. My brothers and sisters were a writhing, furry mass of warmth and strength. I was just small runt. The name echoed in the dismissive glances from the pack. While they tumbled and played, honing their nascent strength, I shivered in the corner of the den, fighting for scraps of warmth and milk. My mother would offer what she could, but nature's a harsh teacher, and her attention was always drawn to the stronger, more promising pups. Survival of the fittest? It wasn't a concept. It was the air I breathed. My first real test came when we left the den. The world was a terrifying explosion of sights and sounds. The scent of pine and damp earth filled my lungs, a stark contrast to the familiar musk of the den. My siblings bounded ahead, their paws surprisingly steady on the uneven ground. I stumbled behind, my tiny legs trembling. That day, the pack leader, a massive gray wolf named Boris with eyes like chips of ice, led a hunting lesson. The prey was a rabbit, quick and clever. My brothers and sisters gave chase, a clumsy but enthusiastic wave of fur. I tried to follow, but my legs tangled, and I tumbled into a thorny bush. The pack moved on, their yips of excitement fading into the distance. I was alone, thorns digging into my thin coat. Panic seized me. But then, something else took over. A quiet, stubborn refusal to give up. I carefully, painstakingly, extracted myself from the bush, one thorn at a time. The pain was sharp, but the fear of being left behind was sharper. I followed their scent trail, my nose to the ground, my heart pounding a desperate rhythm. I arrived back at the den long after the others, exhausted and bleeding. But I had made it. No one noticed, but I did. I had survived my first solo trial. This became my pattern. I was always last, always struggling. While my siblings learned to take down young deer, I learned to track mice and voles. While they practiced their howls, harmonizing with the pack, my voice was a reedy squeak. So, I learned to be silent. I learned to watch. I became an expert in shadows, a student of the unseen. I saw how the wind carried scents, how the deer twitched their ears just before they bolted, how the river flowed strongest after a rain. The others saw the hunt. I saw the 1,000 tiny details that made the hunt possible. My weakness forced me to become clever. I couldn't rely on brute strength, so I had to rely on my mind. One evening, I found a hidden spring, its water cool and clear, far from the main watering hole where predators often lurked. Another time, I discovered a patch of berry bushes laden with fruit, a supplement to our diet that the others had overlooked. I never announced my findings. I just used them. I was building my own secret map of survival within our territory. My body remained small, but my senses, my knowledge, grew immense. I was a library of secrets in a world that only valued strength. The turning point came during the harshest winter in living memory. The snow fell relentlessly, blanketing the forest in a thick, white shroud. Food became scarce. The deer herds moved south. Beyond our reach, the rabbits and squirrels were burrowed deep underground. The pack grew lean, their ribs showing through their thick winter coats. Hunts became desperate, ending in failure more often than not. The tension in the pack was a palpable thing, a low growl that never quite subsided. Boris, our formidable leader, grew grim, his icy eyes scanning the barren landscape for any sign of life. One morning, we cornered a large, powerful stag. It was a risky move, but desperation had made us bold. The stag was old, but cornered and furious, its antlers a fortress of sharpened bone. Boris led the charge, but the stag was ready. It gored one of my strongest brothers, tossing him aside like a broken toy. The pack faltered, their courage wavering in the face of such raw power. They saw an unbeatable foe, but I saw something else. I saw the ground beneath the stag's hind legs. It was on a slight incline, covered in a patch of slick ice, hidden by a thin layer of snow. It was a detail I had noticed on one of my solitary explorations. While the pack hesitated, A crazy idea sparked in my mind. It was a gamble, a fool's hope, but it was all we had. I broke from the line, not charging the stag, but running a wide arc around it. The others stared, confused. Boris let out an angry snarl, surely thinking I was fleeing, but I wasn't running away. I was running towards a different target. I scrambled up the snowy bank behind the stag. From my higher vantage point, I could see the icy patch clearly. With a desperate yip, I launched myself, not at the stag, but at the snow-laden branch of a pine tree directly above it. My meager weight was just enough. The branch groaned, then snapped, dumping its heavy load of snow and ice directly onto the stag's head. It wasn't enough to injure it, but it was enough to startle it, to blind it for a crucial second. The stag roared in surprise and confusion, instinctively shifting its weight. Its hind hoof slipped on the hidden ice. For a single beautiful moment, the great beast was off balance. That was the opening Boris needed. He was a master hunter, and he didn't miss his chance. He lunged, not at the thrashing antlers, but at the exposed throat. The rest of the pack, their courage restored, followed his lead. The battle was short and decisive. We had won, we had food. We would survive the winter. That night, as the pack feasted, something shifted. For the first time, I wasn't pushed to the side. Boris himself nudged a prime piece of meat towards me. He looked at me, and for the first time, his icy eyes held not disdain, but a flicker of respect. He didn't say anything. He didn't have to. The pack had seen the smallest, weakest wolf save them all. Not with muscle, but with his mind. From that day on, things were different. I was still small, but I was no longer seen as a runt. I was the watcher, the pathfinder. When the pack went on a hunt, Boris would look to me, a silent question in his eyes. I would use my knowledge of the terrain, of the wind, of the secret ways of the forest, to guide them. My brothers, once my tormentors, now sought my counsel. My weakness had been my training ground. It had stripped me of everything but my will to live and my need to observe. It forced me to become something more than just another wolf. I never became the biggest or the strongest. My howl never led the chorus, but my size no longer mattered. I had found my own kind of strength. Not the strength of jaws and claws, but the strength of a keen eye, a sharp mind, and an unbreakable spirit. I learned that survival isn't always about being the most powerful. Sometimes it's about being the one who sees the ice hidden beneath the snow. I was the weak one, and that is the secret of how I survived. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, remember to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more. See you next time.